youth league title run in baseball. This summer, sources say he's added best fisherman in the family to his growing resume of accomplishment, as young Mr. Lebby has done. So welcome to the podium, the head coach of Mississippi State University, Jeff Lebby.
Commissioner, appreciated it is. For me, it's an absolute privilege to be here. You know, I think back and think about the things that have gone on inside our program since December, and here we are 2 weeks away from report date. And man, I couldn't be more excited to get on the grass with our current roster and our football team. And you think about the transformation. You know, 80% of our players on our roster right now, they're guys that are in their first or second year of being inside the program. You think about 60 new players since January 1, 43 mid-years, and then having the ability to sign 5 old linemen, a couple of tight ends, and then a couple others on the defensive side of the ball in the spring portal. And so I look back and I think about where we are today, and I think about how we've created some momentum inside of our building by signing, you know, a really good high school class, by signing a really good portal class and addressing the needs that we had to address to change the outcome this fall. And that's all we've talked about, is our plan and our process to change the outcome. You know, I think about all the new guys that are part of our football team and part of our roster, and the thing that excites me the most is their consistency, their buy-in. Inside our walls right now, we've got great belief, we've got great hope, we've got great energy. Our guys are incredibly intent on getting better and changing the outcome this fall, and everything for us points to August 30th. As we move forward, you know, we think about our fall camp, how we change the outcome. We change the outcome by the way we practice and how we do what we do. So as we get into fall camp, one of the things that was huge for us was us being able to practice the way we need to. There was a ton of conversation about that in the off season, and changing both lines of scrimmage, changing the second level on the defensive side of the football. Now, with that, Coach Hutzler's done an unbelievable job on the defensive side, creating that belief and that buy-in, while we've done an unbelievable job, in my opinion, of supplementing the staff. Having the ability to go hire 3 former head coaches, 2 former head coaches at the Power 4 level, and Coach Rhodes and Coach Mack. Both those guys being SEC defensive coordinators along their way at different stops, and having this great amount of experience to be able to help in the room. And so excited about that. Vincent Dancy, coaching our defensive ends and our outside linebackers, comes to us from Colorado, has added great experience inside of the room, as he was a former head coach as well, and from our state, being able to bring him back home. On the offensive side of the ball, the only change and the only addition has been Phil Lodehold. Our offensive line coach comes to us from Colorado, did an unbelievable job with our guys in the spring, and then obviously in the spring portal class, Phil and I were together. He was with me for 6 years prior, before he was at Colorado last year, and then got him back with me at the 1st of January. When I think about our players, I think about our locker room. The 3 guys that I've picked to come with me today are 3 guys that, man, they are all about what we want. And these are guys that have had great leadership ability. They come from completely different backgrounds, completely different stories. And I mentioned it, but 80% of our players are in year 1 or year 2 of our program. Blake Shapen, our starting quarterback, comes with me today, a guy that went through it last year, gets hurt week 4. To me, it shows a lot about Blake and who he is, with the way he handled the situation last year and how he mentored the young people inside the building. For him being year 2 in the system, being year 2 with me, could not be more excited about him leading the charge on the offensive side of the football. So him year year 2 in the program. Brennan Thompson, year 1, comes to us. And to me, Brennan's here with me today because this is a young man that I want to make sure all of our guys inside our locker room understand that transfers, if they can operate as Brennan Thompson operates on a daily level, they're going to set themselves up to have great success. Brennan is a guy that is about the right stuff. He shows up every single day with great intent. He's an incredible teammate. As much as he works, he teaches too. And so all these young guys in the receiver room right now have really taken to him, his leadership, and how he's operated since he's been inside the building in January. And then Isaac Smith. Isaac's a guy that now is going into his 3rd year at Mississippi State. A guy that had a ton of production for us last year. To me, there's no greater spokesperson for our locker room or our defense than Isaac Smith. When you think about the game of football and loving football, that is Isaac. And this guy loves to play the game. He's incredibly physical. He's been a great leader for us, and proud of him and who he's been, and excited about the year that he has the ability to go have. Before I open it up, I'd like to thank Zack Selman, our athletic director. What we've been able to get accomplished in fundraising over the last calendar year has been record-setting for our university. Him and his team have done an incredible job creating momentum. Our facility upgrades at our stadium, the announcement of our new indoor practice facility, all the things that have happened to get us where we need to be. And so incredibly appreciative to him and his team for that. But again, privileged to be here. Couldn't be more excited to get on the field with the guys this fall. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Coach Lebby. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Gianna, Nathan, and Drayden have microphones. If you'll please, if you can, rise and give your name and affiliation when we ask questions. So we'll start up front here on the front left.
Coach Dave Shoemate, SEC Unfiltered. With some of Blake Shapen's injury history in the past, could you go a little in depth on your quarterback depth with Luke Hoke and then Kamario Taylor that y'all signed this past year?
Yeah, we have a room right now that's got great depth to it. Obviously, the addition of Luke coming over from Florida State, playing as a true freshman last year, having to live some things, a kid that is incredibly talented, a top 75 player in America coming out, and just a year removed from that, excited about him. This is a big athletic kid that can do a lot of things, and he provides great depth. The signing of Kamario Taylor for us, the highest ranked QB to ever be signed at Mississippi State, a kid that's 25 miles away from us, his hometown, and a young man that's got an incredible amount of potential. And so we've got a room right now that's got layers to it, which I'm very excited about. Again, Blake's done an incredible job leading that group, and those guys understanding, man, the expectation of how we have to work at that position inside our program.
Coach, we're going to go over to our right-hand side.
Hey, Jeff, Wilson Alexander from The Advocate. After seeing Michael Van Buren really up close last year, just how would you assess what his future could be as a quarterback if he continues to develop at LSU? Yeah,
Mike he's a talented young man. A talented young man that has the ability to be a good player as he continues to grow with the position.
We're going to go straight in the center section in front of me, near the aisle.
Hey, Coach, Landon Tucker. My dogs are barking on MPW Digital. Commissioner mentioned something about family and how important family is.
Yeah.
When you think about your family, in particular, coaches' wives, what role do they play in your personal success?
Yeah, they free me. She frees me up to be able to do exactly what I love to do every single day. And they're the head coach of the household, you know, and that's a very, very real thing. So my appreciation is unmeasurable for everything that, that they go through. And it's fun as heck to have them so connected and right in the middle of the chase.
Okay, we're going to go straight down here in front. Second row.
Jeff, Thomas Jones, Austin American Statesman. Yesterday, Steve Sarkisian talked about how joining the SEC has opened some recruiting grounds for his program. But does that go both ways? You're the son of a Texas high school football coach, I believe.
Yeah.
Does that help y'all recruit Texas when you have two schools in the SEC?
Yeah, I think just the ties help, and then obviously it's just some regional awareness with both of those schools, being inside the league now. But I think there's no doubt us having the ability to go into East Texas as much as anything and be able to pull from there will be something that's critical for us.
Coach, we're going to go over here to our left on the far aisle, about 3/4 of the way back.
Jonathan Williams with the On SI Network. Coach, when you have as much roster turnover as you guys have this season, how do you go about achieving consistently this year?
Yeah, for us, again, we're going to get things done and change the outcome this fall because of how we practice and how we prepare. That's the reality of it. I've talked a ton all day about, man, we also have to become a team. I feel like our football team today is a lot closer and a lot more connected than it was a year ago, even with all the turnover. I'm excited about that. I believe that's because of guys like Brennan Thompson. You know, when you find a guy that's one flat good enough to be able to be a difference maker on your team, but is about the right stuff and the right person, they have a chance to truly impact not just in between the white lines on the field, but in your locker room. And that's what we're looking for constantly. Again, a guy like Blake Shapen being able to be back for year 2, that's how that happens, how you create team. A guy like Isaac Smith, now year 3 for him at Mississippi State. You just got to have guys that are about the right stuff. Then we got to go practice the right way to change the outcome.
Coach, we're going to go the same place on the other side.
Coach Jared Bates, WNSP Mobile, Alabama. You look at the running back position, you bring in some transfers, including Fluff Bothwell, bring in some freshmen. What's that position looking like in 2025?
Yeah, I'm excited about the running back room. We bring back Devon Booth, Johnny Daniels comes back. Both those guys for us last year are 2 leading returners from a rush game standpoint. And then having the addition of Fluff, that room right now really is probably the deepest room on our roster. And so there's a great expectation for production from that group. It's a group that has done a great job. They were 3rd on our football team from a GPA standpoint and have just crushed it on the field and off the field, and proud of where that room is, but excited about their chance to go have great production.
Okay, we'll go straight down this middle aisle on the near aisle.
Hey Coach, Emily Grace McWhorter from The Next Round. We've continually mentioned the new faces on your roster, but what is the identity of Mississippi State football that you want to instill in those guys to see success on the field this fall?
Yeah, we do. We talk about fast, physical, fearless across the board, and so we want our guys to understand that's how we're gonna operate. You know, when we talk about how we will win in the fall, you know, we talk about effort and we talk about physicality, we talk about execution. Those 3 things are what's going to give us the opportunity to go win. But our day-to-day, being fast, fearless, physical, and everything that we're doing is a huge part of who we are.
We'll go back over here on the left side on the aisle, far out.
Hey, Coach Lebby, this is Jacob Davis with Mississippi State Bulldogs on SI. Just wanted to know how you feeling about the beef that you've added up front on the defensive front.
Yeah, that was a huge point of emphasis for us. And again, we've talked a ton about roster and the change and the turnover, but inside the defensive line room and at the defensive end position, 10 new bodies since January 1 have come in, and that room has added in great depth, but I think we've added some real playmaking ability. We've talked a ton as a group and as a staff and as a unit, and creating negative plays, creating sacks, finding ways to create turnovers will be a huge part of our success this fall. Those are things that you can go measure every single day, and so having the ability to change the D-line was huge. Again, we're nowhere close to where we need to be. We got a ton of work to do, but from a body standpoint, we're in a much better position.
Coach, we'll go back over here to the right side, 3rd row.
Jeff Caleb Saylor, Super Talk Mississippi. Your schedule ranks among the toughest in the nation, particularly the home slate. How do you, as a relatively new head coach in the league, view some of these matchups as opportunities rather than obstacles?
Yeah, for us, it's all about opportunity. You know, I think I had great awareness of what the league was when I was able to get the job. And so that part of it wasn't going to change. And so for me and our guys, we understand what the gauntlet looks like, and that's exciting. I mean, what a great challenge, what a great opportunity, and our guys will be excited to go chase it.
All right, we'll go straight in front of me, about halfway back.
Hey, Coach Travis Brown, KBTX.com. What stood out to you about Mario Craver and his time with the program?
Yeah, when Mario was with us, he was a guy that, you know, had the ability to make big plays and stretch the field, and that was in between the white lines. That was the kind of player that he was. That's who he was in high school, and that continued.
Coach, we'll go straight over here in front of me, second row. Tom.
Hey, Jeff. Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Two-parter for you. What are your thoughts on the 8-game versus 9-game conference schedule? And part two, revenue sharing kicked in July 1st. Lane Kiffin was here a couple of days ago saying that the cap enforcement is something he's concerned about. Your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I think for us from a scheduling standpoint, you know, it is at the end of the day, to me, it's going to be what's best for the league. I think all of us as coaches have our own opinions, but the conference at the end of the day is going to do exactly what we need to do to continue to strengthen our position. And that to me is exactly what it's going to look like. The rev share piece of it, a ton of opinions. To me, there's a ton of unknowns. I think we're going to have to go through this cycle, see where things land. Everybody has questions on it, and that's where we're at.
We're going to go down to the center aisle to our right. Mike.
Hey, Coach, Mike Griffith from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Dog Nation. I think you were the only program to play the 3 SEC playoff teams on the road and the Big 12 champion on the road as well. I'm wondering, how did you keep the team as engaged and competitive throughout the year as you did, and kind of piggybacking off Tom's question about that 8 or 9 game schedule? I'm wondering what the attrition was like by the end of the year with the schedule you guys played.
Yeah, for us, the second piece to the question, attrition was very real. You know, and again, I talked a ton about roster, as you guys know, but we've had to change and flip the roster so that we can go practice the way we need to practice and to have the ability to sustain at the back end of the schedule. That's something that's going to be very real. As we went on the road to 4 playoff teams last year, 4 playoff teams will come to us this year. To me, you keep the belief by being exactly who you're supposed to be. And I think if people watched us last year and saw us at the end of the season, anybody with a football eye saw a team that did. There was great belief, there was trust, guys playing incredibly hard, and we were nowhere close to having the outcome that we wanted to have. And so that's what everything's been about since December. It's been about changing the outcome, finding a way to win, creating that inside the locker room every single day. And to me, again, we changed the outcome because of the way we practice and how we do what we do throughout fall camp and the week.
Coach, we're going to go all the way to the back of the room, right in front of the goalpost back there.
Coach Rob Brown, SEC Sidelines, Sports Network, Memphis. Other than California, the state of Mississippi has more junior colleges, I think 17 than any state in America. Recruiting has changed a lot. Per capita, Mississippi puts out more NFL players than any state in America. How are you looking in-state to try to do something other people can't?
Yeah, to me, one of the greatest things about my job is that there's great proximity to players. From a junior college standpoint, high school standpoint, we've got great proximity to players. We've got to keep the best at home, and that's something that we are straining to do every single day. Finding ways to out-evaluate from a junior college standpoint and know exactly what you're getting is an advantage for us, and finding the right ones to be able to take. I think it is an advantage when you're looking from a roster standpoint, the back, that back half of your roster, those last 20 to 25 spots, having the ability to have some older guys from a junior college standpoint that can fill some of those spots to be able to create the size and the physicality and just the maturity that you need to go practice the way you need to. So we're always trying to create advantage. That's what my job is all about, and we're trying to do that with the proximity to players.
Coach, we'll go right in front of me, second row left, Cedric.
Hey, Jeff. Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. You go way back with Brent Venables. You played for him and worked for him. What intangibles does he bring to the table that'll help OU get back on track after an uncharacteristic finish last season?
Yeah. Toughness, consistency, conviction. He is going to be very, very true to his process, and he is the same man every single day, not letting result dictate, who's going to show up in the building every day. And so those are the things to me that are going to create stability and help them down the road.
Coach, we'll go down the middle aisle, just to our right. Drew.
Coach Lebby, Drew DeArmond, WCCN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. I know we've talked about your on-field staff, but as far as part of your off-field staff, The strength and conditioning coach probably spends more time with the players than anyone. I was blessed to have Sean Williams on my show back when he retired from the NFL and he was getting ready to start his journey. Talk about his impact on your team as head strength and conditioning coach, and also one of your young coaches, Errol Thompson, who strapped it up for Mississippi State and I know is trying to climb the coaching ranks now.
Yeah, Shad, just don't have enough great things to say about what he's done for the program. His impact, the day-to-day, to me, he's a guy that he gets it. He's lived it, he's played it. He's not asking anybody inside that locker room to do something he didn't do, and I think there's great value in that. And talk about consistency. Shad is incredibly consistent, and so thankful for what he's doing as he's continued to grow our program, the strength and conditioning program, the way he has and we have. And then getting E.T. To come back home, he's been great. You know, I love having the ability to hire former players. Mississippi State means something to E.T. and I want it to mean as much to everybody in that locker room as it means to me, and that's definitely the case with him, and he's got a bright future.
We'll go back over here on the right side, about halfway back.
Coach David Owens, 680 The Fan. You talked about so many of your players having only 1 or 2 years of experience with this team. How are you hoping to create a new culture with so many incoming transfers and recruits coming to this program?
Yeah, we're not trying to create a new culture. We're going to be exactly true to who we are supposed to be and what we're creating. I think the difference in the team today compared to a year ago today, besides the physical parts of it, we are closer as a football program and as a football team. The only way you do that is you spend time. You got to take the right people, and I've continued to talk about that. Protect the locker room, protect the pick by taking the right people, and so that's what it's all about. Again, I think from a culture standpoint, that is the buzzword. I think the people inside our building love being there. They love each other. They embrace the hard and are ready to go chase it.
Coach, we'll go back over again on the right-hand side, far up.
Coach, Mississippi State baseball, new head coach coming in, basketball, doing great right now. How does Mississippi State football get back to the top?
Yeah, I'll continue to talk about it. We're going to change the outcome because of how we do what we do. You know, it's not going to be anybody talking about it. It's going to be the work that we put in. It's going to be the ability to go practice the way we need to practice, with everything pointing towards August 30th. And so that's how we change that. But again, men's basketball, women's basketball, both in the tournament. Baseball, obviously the excitement with Coach Oak coming in, but got in the postseason. Softball getting in the postseason. So it's our turn to go to do our job. But it's not a turn that you get, and you got to go earn it.
Okay, we'll go in this section just in front of me.
Carlo Brown, WCBI TV in Columbus, Mississippi. Coach, you kind of touched it on there, that the job that Zack Selman has done as athletic director, just signed an extension. When you look at the athletic department as a whole, now that he's been here, what have you seen maybe that has been the greatest, I don't know, improvement that he's done in his time, and I guess his short time so far?
Yeah, and most of the administration staff was in place when I got here, but I think what you see from the top down is connection. You see trust. You see people wanting to do it for each other. And when you see that every single day, just like we all know, it does. It starts at the very top of it. And so there's great alignment, there's great connection. Constantly fighting to continue to build these relationships with our fan base, but also obviously our donor pool, and continue to grow that the way we need to be able to go sustain the way we need to.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get Mike. We'll go up here in the front to our left.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports. Jeff, you talked about it in your opening statement. Just wanted to follow up. Could you talk about the role and impact that Coach Rhodes and Mike McIntyre have had on your staff?
Yeah, both those guys have been great for us. Again, they're both guys that have lived it. You know, been coordinators inside this league. Both guys been Power 4 head coaches, and they love to teach. I think the coolest thing about both of them is there's zero ego. They are trying to make Mississippi State football as good as they possibly can, as fast as they can, and they're all into that. And having the ability to go supplement and support Coleman as he leads that room and leads the unit, and I think has been awesome.
Which will go back over to our left on the far out.
Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. Coach, to be able to have a guy like Isaac Smith buying into the culture and the identity that you have in an era where so many players see results and say, I want to enter the transfer portal, what does that do for your defense with Coleman Hutzler in year 2?
Yeah, it does a ton. To me, that was a great statement that he has great belief in what's going on. And again, the result was far from what it needed to be, but Isaac sees what we see, and he has great understanding of what the expectation is, and this is a guy that does it the right way. So again, really proud of him, absolutely love coaching him and excited about his opportunity.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We've got time for 1 or 2 more. Coach, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Hail State.
Thank you.